What's good, everybody? I am back with some sneaker news. Now, I am a little bit behind, but we still got to talk about it, man. So today we're going to talk about, is the Nike Vomero Plus Nike's answer to Hoka? Now, look, I've kind of been tapped out of sneakers. They've been boring me a little bit, but I have seen these, just the picture of the shoe floating around. So obviously it does resemble a Hoka, but honestly, if you are just the slightest familiar with Nike's products, all of their quote unquote like comfortable or just focus on actual performance, all of their shoes have already been bulky. It's just the problem with it is that when we think of Nike, we think of like, hey, Nike is top dog. They have some of the best colorways out. They have some of the best models out. Versus Hoka, we know, okay, these are orthopedic shoes. These are old people shoes, nurse shoes, etc., etc. But they just don't look good. They have their purpose and they serve that purpose specifically. So when it comes to Nike, everybody kind of just bats an eye because one, they're extremely bulky, and two, they're always usually expensive. Now, this is before like inflation. On average, the prices would be like $275. Now, this was like it's 2025. I would say 3-4 years ago. So, and again, I don't bother with the performance of when it comes to like these very like bulky Nike shoes because they're just so bulky. So when they say is the Vomero Plus an answer to Hoka? Why? Because it's a bulky shoe, because it resembles it. So we're gonna read the article. We're gonna see some of the details that comes with it. But before reading this, I don't think this is the answer. I don't think it's gonna do well. I think Hoka, they stayed in their lane and they're already stamped on what they provide, and Nike is just coming to this train a little too late. So let's go ahead and get into it. And I think the biggest thing too is that we have to see what the price point is, because that's Nike's biggest thing, and competing with all brands when it comes to New Balance, Asics, etc. Price point has always been a major thing. So the rise of brands like Hoka and On Cloud over the last half decade has caused Nike to lose market share in the performance running category. These new players have entered the space and hit on what consumers have begun turning to: maximalist cushioning. Nike is no stranger to beefed up running sneakers, a la the Alpha Fly 3. So that's one of their like real bulky shoes. But again, that's like what the runners kind of gravitate towards if you're like maybe a Nike athlete or you're just prone on Nike. But where these other brands differ is their price point, and that's exactly what I said. Nike, it's too bulky or it's too expensive, and it's not that hard to catch on Nike. Like, you're a $1 billion company. They're coming in at much more affordable and regional prices in the under $200 range. And I'll tell you right now, there is not a single performance running shoe from Nike that is under $200. Like I said, it's usually in that $275 range, which is absurd. The swoosh may have an answer to the popularity of Hoka, as official images of the next iteration in the Vomero series have appeared. And another reason why I say that I don't think this is the answer is because it has come to a point where people don't care that much about how their shoe looks versus them being comfortable. There's a lot of emerging nurses. There are a lot of emerging just fitness, women and men. Like once we got to that New Balance and Asics, it was kind of a wrap from there. We set aside our pride and we're like, you know what? Yeah, we were making fun of them back in the day, but hey, Unc them getting old. We got to be comfortable. And once that barrier got removed, it was up from Nike. I'm not gonna lie. Nike shook up how it approached the performance running sneaker category with a 3-tiered system offering the standard model icon, in this case the Vomero 18, a mid-tier plus model, and the premium. For the Vomero's Plus iteration, Nike applies a lightweight engineered mesh upper that allows for unique color blocking as wavy linear textiles merge with a dotted pattern on this base. Performance on the eyelets and the toe help with structure, while the swoosh logo on the midfoot takes center stage and cuts across the upper. So here are some of the Nike Vomero Plus colorways, and I'm not gonna lie, these are good colorways. These are really good colorways. But again, I don't think that was ever the issue. I will say that based off these pictures, they have slimmed down, which is surprising though, because these are still bulky, but compared to like the Alpha Fly 3 or whatever, that was a extreme, like when I tell you like it's been bulkier than Hoka. So the shape resembling it, that's why I said, is this really an answer? The underfoot experience is where Nike takes after its competitors, as a sculpted foam midsole is done in an organic, like free-flowing design, encapsulating a full-length Zoom X foam cushioning setup. This part is apparent thanks to the large Zoom X logo stamped on the sole unit, but there's more to the sneaker than Nike has yet to unveil. Traction below comes in a waffle-like design featuring cutouts to the foam within the sneaker. The Nike Vomero Plus will debut in the fall 2025 through Nike and select retailers online and in store in multiple colorways, available in unisex sizing. The retail price is set at $170. Whoa. I wasn't expecting a $170, I'm not gonna lie. That is very interesting. But $170 plus $5 due to Nike increasing all of their prices, so $175. But yeah, my thing is, we waited too late. We waited too late. There are brands who stayed in their lane. They stayed down till they came up. And now that people have made it popular and mainstream to rock with Hoka, to rock with On, New Balance, Asics, etc., it's going to be really hard to pull people in. And on top of the fact, Nike doesn't do any like marketing. Like they don't do any marketing anymore. So it's going to be really hard to tell, the average runner or, someone, the average just, person who buys a shoe once a year. Because again, Hoka's, they have extreme durability. On's extreme durability. And I know plenty of people, like a lot. It is actually more uncommon for people to have, X amount of shoes, so many shoes, versus just, I'm just going to get this 1 to 2 pair of shoes a year or, for multiple years. So a lot of these people have already gotten their Hokas. They've gotten this, and this is a very durable shoe. So now that we've already bought it, and it's going to be really hard for people to find out about this because people are already not going into retail stores anymore. Foot Lockers are shutting down. People don't even go into the malls anymore. And really online shopping is kind of based off of like TikTok. If it's not trending, then it's really hard to really find out about something new unless you are already like heavily informed or, word of mouth, which, someone has to start that chain, which I don't think it's going to be starting. So honestly, is this the answer? Again, I don't think so. It is really good though that it is at a $170 price point. Now, I do have to see because I don't know how much Hoka. So let's look up that. Let's just look up the average Hoka price and see. Okay, so their website's not working. Let's just see how much on average they cost to see, if 170 is actually good enough. Because again, I don't. The only reason I even am knowledgeable on Hokas is because I used to work at a retail store before they became popular. So that was my last time actually looking at them. I guess we'll just go for road running. That was unisex, so I guess we'll just go for men's, just for it to be a little bit more expensive, I guess. Now I do remember the Cliftons. That's kind of like the mid tier, but this is like that similar shape. $150. So again, it's still cheaper than Nike. I'm trying to go down even more. The Bondis was the bulkier ones. I do remember that. The Bondis are the more bulkier ones. That would be similar to the Vomero 18 in this instance. So 170, right on par. And then obviously you have the bigger ones, the Mach 2s, the Skywards. These are a little bit more expensive. We got 190, 225. But again, on average, 160, 125. Now again, the Hokas, they are performance specific. So some of these cheaper, some of these like when it comes to price point, when it comes to Hoka, you are literally getting what you pay for. So if you are getting a more expensive Hoka, you are getting a more performance driven, a more cushiony. There's a lot of stuff that goes into. So you're just not paying more just to be paying more. Is actually you are getting something in. But also again, some of these have different performances. Maybe for a short runner versus a long runner versus just you being on your feet. So again, that's why I said Hoka is very performance specific. But again, there are just so many options that are cheaper than that 170 on average. We only saw, and this is for the men's. We didn't even go to the women's. Let's just look at their best sellers. Best sellers. The Clifton 10 was the best seller when I was working at the retail store. So again, 150. It's 150 for men's and women's. But again, a lot of their stuff is unisex. So the Bondi 170, the Clifton 9 GTX 160. And again, remember, Nike just increased their prices. So in June, it's going to be 175. So even this 170, which is to match Hoka, is still gonna Hoka is gonna still be $5 cheaper because Nike wanted to be greedy. So, but yeah, on average, bro, their best sellers are cheaper or on the same par as Nike. So it's like, finally, thank you for coming below $200 for once. But the thing is, and also another point, a lot of people are going to have to try out and experience the Vomero 18 versus if they have already switched over to their Hoka, their Asics, their New Balance, etc. They already know what that is and they are okay with it. And again, they have been coming up. They've been making solid colorways. So I don't think this is the answer, but you guys can let me know in the comment section below. Is this a good move for Nike? I think it's a good move, but I think it's just way too late, and I think Hoka is still in a good standing. So, and their stock speaks for itself. Go look at Hoka stock versus Nike stock. Just look at the difference in the performance, and you'll see if this is really an answer or not. So, with that being said, Fo out. Peace.